Hi CASEA and CASEA friends, wherever you are. Welcome to the Profit from Mistake show, powered by CASEA Dialogue. I'm Rudy Fang, your CASEA host. This show, the Profit from Mistakes, is all about learning from mistakes from our CASEA logger, seasoned entrepreneurs, business owners, business experts, so that we can avoid doing the same mistake in our personal life and our business life.
Hi, CASEA and CASEA friends. Wherever you are, I'm Vincent Chia, your CASEA host too. Powered from Mistake Show is a franchise show powered by CASEA Dialogue of CASEA-BC.
Today we have our CASEA logger here again with us, Mr. Kenneth Tan. Please give Kenneth Tan a great welcome applause.
Mr. Kenneth Tan is the founder and pioneer researcher of Eureka Water Technology. Kenneth is water specialist trained by qualified water specialists in Japan. He's also a researcher from a Japan water research group that specializes in water engineering and water chemistry. He has been in the water industry since 2009 and specializes in water chemistry and water formulation. As a water chemist, Kenneth works with companies in the food and beverages and skincare industry to formulate specific type of natural spring water for these companies' product. There are also projects whereby Kenneth provides consultancy for agriculture, aquaponic, fishery, and also water treatment industries. Let's now learn from Mr. Kenneth Tan.
Hi Kenneth, welcome to the show. In the last episode, you shared about 3 things to do in business life. The first one is find good mentor. What is your definition of a mentor and a good mentor? Who can be mentor and how did you find your mentor?
Hi, CASEANs and CASEA friends. Thank you for inviting me today, and thank you to Rodi and Vincent for inviting me and appearing on this show. Now, last week I've shared a lot about how to be a good entrepreneur and other mistakes. Now, this week, a mentor is like a private teacher that can guide and pace your growth. He combines the role of a teacher and a coach, and he also will guide you along based on your ability, your strength, and your weakness. Now, it is not easy to find a mentor. To be a good mentor is to first build a trusting relationship between the mentor and mentee. They must know each other well, and trust must be there. Usually, the mentor can be a person from the same trade or someone who have years of experience in building business. Most important is that your mentor needs to be a person who has run his own business, knows about several trade and industries very well. The mentor should also be able to help you strategize and develop based on your strength and weakness. This mentor was someone that that you trust and has many years in the trade, and he is also senior industry. That is overall what you need in the mentor and mentee relationship, especially when you look out for one, they must actually have this criteria.
We can see that finding a mentor is not an easy job. Kenneth, your second advice is never be stubborn or arrogant. What was your experience? What do you do to stay not stubborn or arrogant?
Thank you, Vincent. Now, you have raised a very good question. Overconfidence is often caused by stubbornness or arrogance, which means that there are many times when our confidence has led me to and my partner to make heavy loss for the company. One example was back in 2013 when my partner wanted me to take an office that was actually converted into a hydrotherapy center. My partners and I were too overconfident. We were very stubborn, we were arrogant, even though for my mentor, they were advised. And even I spoke to some of the friends, they said, you better reconsider because why? There's limited funds that you have. If you divert your funds, you make a mistake. After running the office come hydrotherapy center, it resulted in a loss of over $100,000 because we were not ready to take on the challenge and we have diverted the fund. That really caused us to learn about the lesson. This will be a very painful lesson. Eventually, I learned to be wiser. I started to think more deeply into things, consulted my mentor and friends around me and hear the thoughts. Most important is that I learned to come down and consider if I'm taking the risk and whether can I handle the risk of failing. Therefore, if you ask me about being arrogance and stubbornness, is actually to think about, to go into deep thought and rethink through what you have instead of just being too overconfident. Thanks, Vincent.
Wow, your experience being stubborn was indeed costly, Kenneth. So your third advice is get used to loneliness in business life. What do you mean as loneliness? And how did you manage the loneliness in your experience?
Good question, Rudy. Now, when we talk about loneliness, it doesn't mean that there's no one beside you. You don't have a parents, you don't have your family, you don't have your spouse, or you don't have your children, or even your partners to be with you. What do you mean by lonely is that uh, when I learned this, when I heard of this phrase from my mentor saying that as a CEO and a head of a company, uh, you often becomes lonely because you need to make tough decisions. Over the years, I begin to experience what this phrase means. When you run a company or you're head of a company with a team of people with you, you have to make tough decisions, especially when you have to solve these challenges. When problem arises, your staff and team will look for you to resolve them. They look up to you and they expect you to solve it at your best ability. But they don't expect you, the expectation is that you're able to solve it and not result in failure or losses. So you make a tough challenge. So next question is, as I have progressed in years of my business, I slowly get used to the loneliness. Over the years, I learned to find quiet time. I begin to learn to take step backward, find a quiet place where I can sit down and consider. You need you need that space that's given to you. Very quiet, you need to step backward. Sometimes you have a room to yourself, sometimes you have to go to a place where there's nobody that will interrupt your thoughts. Then you will have to think about what you are strategizing and things. Normally, what I do is each year I take about 2 to 3 breaks from my work to slow down, to reconsider, to rest, and also to look into new possibilities. The important thing is that as when we do business, we get very tied up. Our attention and our mind tends to be very tied up. We need to take a break. We need to empty our mind. We need to reconsider and slow down. Then we can reformulate, re-strategize again. You cannot keep running for a year, 2 years, 3 years without taking a break. Most business owners feel that they don't need a break. They need to break through. But the thing is, there will be no breakthrough if there's no break. Thanks, Rudy.
Oh, getting used to loneliness in business does not sound easy at all. Hi, CASEA and CASEA friends who are just joining us. Welcome to the Profit from Mistake show powered by CASEA Dialogue. This show, The Profit from Mistake, is all about learning from mistakes from our CASEA logger, seasoned entrepreneur, business owner, business expert, so that we can avoid doing the same mistakes in our personal life and our business life. Kenneth, regarding mistakes in running business, you share a mistake that you made, not listening to good advice. Would you mind give some example of this mistake? How do you improve and overcome?
Well, thanks, Vincent. No, not listening to your advice actually comes from being stubborn, being arrogant, being overconfident. Now, one of my earliest mistakes is in bringing partners into the business. There are times when family and friends actually advise me on not taking a partner because maybe it's not a good match. Maybe that your objective and your focus and direction are different. So when you bring in partners, sometimes you have not really figured out if you are at a good fit or not. So whenever I don't listen to this, I get into a huge mess because not every partner actually is the right partner. Another example is trusting right people. There are some situations whereby I'm told to be careful with a client, but because I think that because of overconfidence, I think that I know what I'm doing, I tend to be careless. I still went ahead and trust people and got burned and end up with losses in money. Most business owner would go through the same stage of what I've gone through. So therefore, I learned to always slow down and ask people why they think I'm making a mistake. I would hear a reason. I would hear their thoughts, and then they will analyze the situation for me. Then I will take the advice, slow down, observe for a period of time before going ahead with the plan. Slowing down to consider and observe allow me to look in the situation much more clearly and avoid the mistakes. Thanks.
So Kenneth, we need to slow down to observe before proceeding. I think that's a very good point. Now we want to learn more about your current business. what are your products or services, Kenneth?
That's a good question, Rudy. Thanks. Now, in 2009, when I first started the business, my main products were actually a water filtration system. I started my story is that I got a water filtration system that produces a very unique type of water for my dad when he was unwell. So I went into studying the water filtration. I got interested in how the water is beneficial and the properties of the water. So I began to experiment on different ways to recreate certain type of water. It took a few years because you need to learn into water engineering, then it goes into water chemistry. Then you begin to you do a certain experiments, and then you got interested in natural spring water because many companies speak about they're having natural spring water. Then so you want to recreate again. They found that there are many different ways, and there are many technologies in the world which you can adopt and put them together. Learning over the years that there is no such thing as the best water in the world, I found that different type of products requires different product with different properties. That is what kept me going to do R&D on water formulation. So over the years, the main product has always been water filtration system, but it are a tool and equipment. Eventually, is how do you replicate and recreate the spring water that your clients need.
I see that your product and service cover water filtration and water formulation. Kenneth, what kind of customer problems do you try to resolve?
Well, Vincent, thank you. Now, the two main group of clients are residential and commercial client. Residential client are very concerned with heavy metals, the basic chemicals like chlorine and fluoride, while the commercial clients will often focus on whether their water is suitable for their products. In Singapore, the industry is quite small. We only have access to the local tap water and some of the filtered water. But if it goes to other countries, like you goes to China, Taiwan, you goes to like Europe, they focus a lot on natural spring water, whether it's from the mountain, from under the ground. So when they shift their manufacturing process overseas, they need to recreate the same type of water to duplicate the taste, the texture, and the type of the product they want. So we will go in to do the job, to do the formulation for them. So we need to study the type of water that was created in the original formula, and we will replicate the same thing.
So, Kenneth, your business has two target markets. So, residential clients and commercial clients. Kenneth, who are your competitors? Are there many or few?
In Singapore, we have about 60 main companies that are supplying water filtration system, but these are those that are in established scale type. When you goes down to the road, you have maybe over 100 to 200. I really do not know the exact number because if you don't consider the independent or individual marketing, we look in the companies, maybe there are about 100, 120 of them. These competitors supply both locally and overseas, mainly local market. But I've always, after so many years in the market, I always feel that these are not the competitors. The competitors are actually ourselves. We need to actually upgrade and improve ourselves. The business will then, if we don't do the upgrading, we don't do improvement, the business will eventually be taken over. Thus, I always remind myself, the biggest competitor is yourself, because as you last longer in a business, you will be overtaken. You cannot create something that is new. If you cannot create something that is new, you will be replaced. Therefore, the biggest competition is how do you overcome your difficulty and challenge. Thank you.
Wow, our real competitor is ourselves. That's a very good reminder for all us here. Business-wise, how do you compete?
Now, I compete with my competitors in the market by making my business stand out differently from competitors. As when the companies that is in the market they focus on using or buying a product from a supplier or manufacturer, then they sell in the open market. Usually this product don't last for a long time. Each product has about between few years, like in Singapore, it's about 3 to 5 years shelf life. So that they will run as a marketing life and then they will run out and phase out if they don't upgrade or they don't have new products. For us, we are forever producing new products. We brand our business as an innovative water technology company that we provide water solution. So when we produce the water solution, we don't focus on my product. We focus on putting together a package to solve the client's needs.
Kenneth, you compete by innovating. It is indeed brilliant approach. I'm sure it is not easy at all for all of us. Why do you think that your industry and your business have good chance to survive and grow in this tough business environment today?
Well, good question, Rudy. Now, let's put on statistics and awareness. I think very few people know that the price of water is actually more expensive than the price of crude oil. When you buy a barrel of oil, it costs about 40 USD. But actually, when you buy a barrel of water, it can cost up to 80 to 120 USD. That is the price difference. So we are saying that water is more expensive than crude oil now. Now, in actual fact, if you do a studies or you search online, actually only 2.7% of the water that is found on the planet is fresh and is drinkable. If that's the case, that means that we are in a rush for the next 30 to 50 years trying to figure out how to produce water to make it potable and drinkable. Now, next thing that we need to be aware is that as when industry grows, there's a demand for water. No one will take a water from a tap and make into a product. If the company or the business is doing that, we are in trouble. Because why? The source is pretty easy, but your quality of your product will actually goes on the deep. So this is an industry that is going to go on the scale up, and there is a demand for people with the skills and expertise really to build and grow this industry. Therefore, for your finance question, is actually that we are on a rise. There is a chance, or in fact, we are needed. So the chance of surviving is very good. The chance of improving and the demand will grow even more over the years. Thank you, Rudy.
Wow. Kenneth, we've learned a lot from you today. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here with us today and share your most valuable experience in the Profit from Mistake Show, powered by CASEA Dialogue.
Thank you, Kenneth, for today's discussion. And thank you to all CASEA and CASEA friends for joining us here. See you in the next episode of the Profit from Mistake Show. Stay tuned and goodbye.
Goodbye.